Hello and welcome to Cactus and Cacti. In the previous video we sowed some rare cacti in the pots you can see in this propagator here. But this video we're focusing on the propagator that's here. Have a look at the seedlings that we've got in here that were sown last year and the year before. So these ones are seedlings that are still small enough that have to be kept in the containers. So there were other seedlings that have graduated the propagator, and we'll have a look at what the next stage is and what I've done with them in a future video. But right now we'll have a look at what's in this propagator here. I'll get them out and we'll put them on the table. We'll have a quick look at each. So I have now taken the tray out of the propagator and we'll have a look at some of the seedlings, all the seedlings in the tray. We'll start with this one right here. I'll just open the top. Nice. Comes off nice and easily, so we'll just zoom in. And the ones here. So these seedlings are Strombocactus disciformis. So the same species, one of the seeds that we sowed in the previous video. These seedlings here are just over 2.5 years old. You can see they're starting to get their first spines and starting to get that Strombocactus shape. Variety of different sizes. As you can see towards the back now. Now we've got a slightly bigger, fatter one, and then a little tiny one at the back as well, and then two decent sized ones on the left, and the one in the centre one I quite like. I don't know if you can tell, but this one looks like it's starting to spiral, which is going to be really, really interesting when it gets bigger. But this is a good size Strombocacti at this age, because they are very slow growing. All I've done with these is just giving them a light dusting of the fine grit on top, just to cover any ivy that's on the surface, which you can tell there was because you can see it on the side of the pots. But other than that, I've had no issues with these guys. I'll just put the lid back on now. Now and we'll look at this pot next. Let's get them off. So in here are some Ariocarpus. Not a particular fan of Ariocarpus myself. Sort of decided if I'm going to have Ariocarpus, I'll grow it from seed. Although I have broken that wall a couple of times. So you can see that they're just starting to get their characteristic Ariocarpus fingers. And with little spines at the end of them. We've got two different types here. We've got one type here on the right and another type on the left. Sorry, I've got the names on the side of the pots. I'm just going to see if I can read it. We've got Ariocarpus. Sorry, I forgot. Really Spinus in Tony on the left, and Ariocarpus Chinese, some sort of Chinese hybrid on the right. and I do believe that somewhere in the middle there should be an Ariocarpus fusaratus, but I do believe that he has sadly passed away. These ones I have transplanted into this pot to be together. So that's all I've done with these guys, other than they have been in the pot. So they've been sprayed and kept moist. Again, these are 2.5 years old. They're probably a bit small for what they are, but they're alive and they're growing and they seem healthy enough. Okay, thanks. So the next pot we'll look at is this one here. So in here we have some Astrophytum myostigmas, the variety Bishop's Mitchell, which is the one typically with the 5 ribs. For an example here, the juvenile plant. Or 5 ribs, although this one is starting to spiral, so it's in that typical bishop's hat shape. And we'll go back to look at the seedlings. Again, these seedlings are 2.5 years old. They are a little bit small for what they are. Well, that's because I grow my cactus seedlings hard. So I don't have them on constant heat. I don't have them under lights constantly, as in 24/7. I have them on a 12-hour cycle. And even though these pots do retain moisture, they do tend to dry out very rarely, so I do have to spray them as well to re-moisten the pots. But the seedlings are alive and they're growing well and they look healthy enough. Yes, some of them are still a bit brown, but I've adjusted the lights accordingly. You can see that some of them, specifically the ones just to the right, just up there to the right, are still a little bit bean shape, but again, they're alive. And then you've got the ones more in the centre, and they're starting to get the Astrophytum shape, although these ones have only got 4 ribs, so the 5th rib obviously comes a bit later, and some of them are even starting to get their characteristic speckles as well. And again, the fact that I grow my cactus seedlings hard, there's no fertiliser mixed into the soil, and I don't, when I have to respray this pots, I don't use fertilised water. Now sticking with the Astrophytums, we have these Astrophytums. So these are just over 1.5 years old. As you can see, they're starting to get the Astrophytum shapes on top and get their first set of speckles, some of them, although there is a few that are still bean shaped. So these ones are actually a cross between, show you this one again, the Astrophytum myostigma and another species, Astrophytum ornatum. So this plant, like the other plant, are just juvenile ones, and the seeds didn't come from these plants. They came from across some of my bigger ornatums, myostigmas, but these are just examples of the species. So we'll go back and have a look at the seedlings. Now, I'm going to see which characteristics I pick up from which parents. Not hard to tell at this stage. They're just starting to get their shapes, potentially even their first spines. Again, this Astrophytum seed container was growing hard in the same conditions as I mentioned before, so that's why they are a little bit small at this age. The white things you can see on the soil surface are some perlite that have been mixed into the soil. First attempt to try and see what the perlite makes a difference, and we can compare them to the size of the ones that I just showed you. Look at a little tub next. The first thing you'll notice is that yes, there is some moss in here. I didn't sterilise the soil, but the seedlings are growing above it at the minute. The moss isn't too overpowering, and the seedlings look healthy enough with their first set of spines. As you can see, and they're just starting to fatten out. So these seedlings here are Rebutia hilosa. So a cross between two different subspecies of hilosa, which I'll zoom out and pan to right. Got the parent plants here. So we've got the normal Rebutia hilosa here that you can see has still got the remains of dead flowers on, and then its mate Rebutia hilosa Therese, which is a bit more spiny and a little bit bigger. This is the plant where I managed to get the seed pods off, but the pollen came from the normal subspecies. So it'll be interesting to see what characteristics they take. As you can see at the minute, they are spiny, so they look like they'll go into more Therese, but shape-wise, and they might lose their spines older, so that may be interesting to see. When it comes to flowers, the flowers were pretty much identical. Lid on, and then have a look at our final container in here. First thing you'll notice is that this container is in a bag. Like I said, said that before, with the restricted pot sizes of using the tubs, you do have to sometimes upgrade it to the baggy method to give them a bit more room. So in here we've got Gymnolobivia hybrids that I cross-pollinated myself. And try and add a picture of the parent plants here. As you can see, they're both slightly different shapes and got different coloured flowers. And looking back to the seedlings, yes, they are a little bit elongated at the base and flopping over, but they're growing okay. There's a bit of browning on some of the tips, which could indicate too much light, but the propagators I used can adjust the lights. but you have to do it as a whole, so it's just getting a balance of what works with different species I've got there. These seem to be growing okay at the minute. You can see the one in the front has got a little off shoot at the top, probably because the tip is damaged, so it's growing like that. So yeah, I'd be interested to see what shape these come out with and the colours of the flowers when they eventually do flower. The parents plants I keep outside during the summer, and they just get whatever the Yorkshire where they can throw at them, and they flower through it, as you saw in the picture of the white flowering one. See that the flowers are well and truly drenched. When I transferred it to the bag, all I did was just take the lid off, put it in the bag, and spray the insides of the bag with water. Treat that. And like, these are again a year and a half old, just like the beauteous seedlings before them, and the Astrophytum crosses. They're growing hard and slow, because that's how I grow my cactus seedlings here at Hope's Cacti. But they're alive and they're growing, and that's all I care about, really. There we have it, what I've got in that propagator. So thank you for watching, and please subscribe for future videos and updates on these plants and the plants that we showed in the previous video. If you haven't watched, please go watch. And